Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson and I'm here to bring you our notes for Unit 4 Notes 2. Today we are talking about factoring by grouping. So yesterday we talked about factoring out the GCF and how that takes apart multiplication that was done to give you a product. We're going to keep going with that theory all unit. We're taking apart multiplication to undo a product of some sort. And today we're doing factoring by grouping. So factoring by grouping is used when we want to undo the distributive property, or in other words, the multiplication, when we are factoring polynomials with 4 terms. If we have 4 terms, we're going to be able to group them into pieces and factor them that way. So let's just talk about some steps for factoring by grouping. The first step for factoring by grouping is to group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. So you're literally just going to take parentheses and group those terms together. After you do that, we take out the GCF of each group. So all of that GCF stuff that you did yesterday, you're going to be doing that twice in every question today. You're going to be taking the GCF out of 2 different groups. When we do that, we should have 2 sets of parentheses that match. So you need to make sure that whatever you have left inside the 2 sets of parentheses matches. And then if you've got that, you're a go to write out your factors. So the matching parentheses become one of your factors. The GCFs outside make the other factor. And then we write those 2 factors out as parentheses multiplied together. So take a minute here and write down these steps if you need to, and we will move on to our examples. In number 1, I have x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. Now be careful here. Our brain tells us, hey, we've got like terms, let's put them back together. 2x and 4x, I can do that. No, we don't want to do that here. The whole point of factoring is to take apart a product. So we're going to leave this as 4 terms because since we have 4 terms, I can group them in 2 groups of 2. So that's my first step. Put parentheses around the first 2, put parentheses around the second 2. Now I need to look at each set of parentheses and I need to find the GCF. So when I look at x squared plus 2x, the GCF there is x. I'm going to take x out. So x is a factor of both. Now x squared divided by x is x. So I have an x out front with that leftover x in the inside, and then 2x divided by x is 2. That left over 2 inside. So that looks just like what we did yesterday, taking the GCF out and leaving the leftovers behind in parentheses. Now let's look at the second group. So I have 4x plus 8. I have a common factor of 4. So I'm going to take that greatest common factor out. It's a positive 4. There's plus in between, so plus 4. And then 4x divided by 4 is x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now here's where you just do a quick spot check. Do your parentheses match? Sure do. X plus 2 and x plus 2, they are the same thing, and that is what should happen. So one of your factors is this set of parentheses, x plus 2. The other factor are the 2 GCFs you pulled out put together, x plus 4. That is my factored form. Notice that I no longer have an addition symbol between that because I'm taking these 2 factors and multiplying them together. So there's no addition symbol between the 2. That is your factored form, and that's your answer. So let's take a look at number 2. 4x squared minus 8x plus 9x minus 18. Again, we see like terms and our brain wants to put our like terms together, but I already have these separated into 4 factors, which makes grouping really easy. So I am going to group the first 2 and group the last 2. From the first 2, look for the GCF. 4x squared minus 8x, I can take out a 4x. So I have 4x out front. And then when I divide those, x and negative 2 behind. From the second group, I can take out a 9. So I have a positive 9 out front. And then I have x minus 2 behind. So insides, they match. Yay! That's what I want. That's one of my factors. 4x plus 9 is my other factor. Again, when you write it in factored form, these 2 things are being multiplied together, not added, multiplied. So don't throw an addition symbol in between. That's how it started, but we undid that multiplication, so now it's ending with multiplication form. Some of you may think, does it matter what order I write them in? No, it absolutely does not. If I wrote this as 4x plus 9, and then x minus 2 behind that, that is the same answer. Both of those answers are completely acceptable, and you can write them in either order. We know multiplication can be switched. 3 times 2 is the same as 2 times 3. So if you flip the order, it's no big deal. Number 3, I have 2x squared plus 5x plus 4x plus 10. So I'm going to group and then group, and I want to take out the GCF. So from the 2x squared and 5x, the only thing I can take out is an x. So I have an x out front, and then I have 2x behind. 5x divided by x is just 5. Okay, now second group. From 4x and 10, I can take out a 2, so that's positive 2. And then I have a 4x, oh, sorry, hello, 4 divided by 2 is 2, not 4. Hello. Try that again. 2x plus 5. And there you go, parentheses match, so we're good. So I have 2x plus 5 and x plus 2. All right, so let's take a look at number 4. In number 4, 11x squared minus 33x plus 10x minus 33. Group the first two, group the last two, and go from there. 11x squared minus 33x, I'm going to divide by 11x. 11 and 33 have a common factor of 11, and they both have an x, so I'm going to take it out. 11x goes behind. That gives me x minus 3 left over. Over here, 10x minus 30, I can take out a 10. So 10 is outside, x minus 3. And then 11, 11x plus 10 and x minus 3. That is my factored form. Okay. Number 5. In number 5, I have 12p to the third minus 21p squared plus 28p minus 49. So group the first two, group the last two. From the first two, I can divide out a 3, but I can also take out a p squared. This is p to the third, and that's p squared. So I'm going to take out 3p squared from both. And when I do that, 12 divided by 3 is 4. P squared, p to the third divided by p squared is p. And then negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. P squared over p squared goes away. Second group, 28p minus 49, I can just take out a 7. So plus 7 out front. 28p divided by 7 is 4p. 49 divided by 7 is 7. Insides match. So 3p squared plus 7 is one of my factors, and 4p minus 7 is my other factor. If you ever wanted to check your factored form to make sure that you were getting the right answer, you could always take this factored form and FOIL it back. If we remember foiling or setting up the box method, do the multiplication again. First terms, outside terms, inside terms, last terms. You should get to that original expression. You should get back to the original. So that's really all we're doing. We are undoing the FOIL that was done to give me this up here. So just a little tip for you if you ever want to try that. This one, number 6, 8r to the third minus 64r plus r minus 8. So from 8r to the third minus 64r squared, I can take out an 8r squared. From 64r squared, 8r squared. So that's 8r squared out front. And then that leaves me with 1r and minus 8. Now, from r minus 8, I can't take anything larger than a 1. But we learned in the GCF lesson yesterday that I have to represent that factor. I have to represent that place that was there. So I need to put the 1 out front. And I'll show you what happens if I don't. So I have the 1 out front, r minus 8 behind, parentheses match, I'm good. So 8r plus, oops, sorry, squared, plus 1, and then r minus 8. That's my answer there. Now, if I were to leave off that 1, if I left off that 1 and called it 8r squared times r minus 8, that's supposed to be an r there. Let's say I refoil this back or redistribute this back. That gives me 8r to the third minus 64 r squared, and that's it. I dropped these last two terms by leaving off the 1. That's why you have to have the 1 in place there. Otherwise, we don't get all of the terms that we started with. So that's why we make sure we have that 1 with us. All right, number 7. In number 7, 12x to the third plus 2x squared minus 30x minus 5. So I'm going to take the first 2 and the last 2, put them in parentheses. Now there's a subtraction symbol between this, so I'm going to just make that addition and make the 30 negative. I like to put my subtraction in with the term so that I remember that that's part of that grouping. So from 12x to the third plus 2x squared, I can take out 2x squared. And then I have 2x squared inside 6x plus 1. There's that 1 again that we have to have as a placeholder, otherwise we lose some terms. Then take a look at the second group. Negative 30x minus 5. They're both negative. I want my results to both be positive. This is a positive 6x, that's a positive 1. So that tells me I need to take a negative out with whatever my GCF is. So I'm going to take a negative out, and the GCF of 30 and 5 is 5. So I have minus 5 in between here, and then negative 30 divided by negative 5 is positive 6. Still have my x. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is positive 1. So 2x squared minus 5 and 6x plus 1. So again, I needed to make sure that those insides match, and in order for them to match, I needed these terms to be positive, which means I pulled the negative out with it. Let's take a look at number 8. 6v to the third minus 16v squared, 21v minus 56. This has a 2v squared. This has a 2v squared. So 2v squared is out front, and that leaves me with 3v minus 8. Over here, 21 and 56 have a common factor of 7. So that's positive 7 out front, and that's a 3v minus 8. Insides match, we're good. 2v squared plus 7 and 3v minus 8. And there we go. Last two that we're going to look at today together, and then you'll do your practice assignment. So a whole lot of variables going on here. 12x squared u plus 3x squared b plus 28u yu plus 7yv. Wow, a lot happening. So group them, start the same way. First two terms, last two terms. Look at the first two. I see an x squared. The u has to stay and the v has to stay because they're not common. But between 12 and 3, I can take out a 3. So 3x squared comes out front. That leaves me with 3x squared and then 4u plus v. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, over here, 28yu, 7yv. So take out a 7 for sure, and the only variable they have in common is a y. So 7y. 28 divided by 7 is 4. I'm left with a u. 7 divided by 7 is 1. I'm left with a v. And holy cow, we did it. 4u plus v. They match. So 3x squared plus 7. Ooh, sorry. Hello, 7y. Don't forget your y. Plus 7y. There we go. And 4u plus v. Last one, still a whole lot of variables going on in this question. 40ac squared plus 25 ak squared, 32 bc squared plus 20 bk squared. Ooh, so first grouping, 40 and 25, I can take out a 5. Variables, ac squared, ak squared, I can take out an a. So that leaves me with 5a out front. Then that is 8c squared plus 5k squared. All right, over here, 32 bc squared, 20 bk squared. I can take out a 4. And then for variables, I can just take out a b. So plus 4b, 8k, c squared plus 5k squared. And the match, 8c squared, 5k squared, there they are. So 5a plus 4b and 8k squared plus 5k squared. Ooh, lots of variables going on there. All right, that takes us to the end of our notes video. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check off your notes sheet with Ms. Johnson, and I will see you all later. Thanks. Bye.